Previously, I released a video showing you sort of my design process on the computer and then to the real world for designing instruments that I haven't made yet. And so if you haven't seen the video, go check it out. But now this video, I'm actually going to build the darn thing. And we'll get to hear it at the end. Let me show you one of my favorite uses for the mini center square from squaretools.com. Putting in just like strap holders. Like normally I would use the full-size center square, which has these little brass pins that I can use and squeeze against the body of the instrument and find my spot. Or I can use this little one, and it might take me a second longer to line it up, but there it is. It's pointing to the same spot. I actually go a little bit up from the middle in this body style. And you can see I can actually bend these side arms just a little bit to get down here where the body's not chamfered and help me get an even more accurate reading for where I'm going to drill my hole for my strap. So this instrument is actually going to have two output jacks, one on either side of this little magnetic catch here. So I need to find my center point on this right here. Go back this way a little bit, I think. Right there, and then on this side. Perfect.
New things begin. New year, exhilaration. Cross this bridge built by kings. Hold her hand, I'm already home. Miles fly by, drunk anticipation. Highways melt in the corner of her eyes. All the while hoping she will marry me. On this bridge built to eternity. She wants me to beautiful places. I'll drive her to the edge of the world. Fairy tales built on communication. Cross the bridge where we'll reside. Happily ever after. Happily ever after. A new story begins. Definitions elude. Street signs always guide me. Magic thrives on the unexpected. I I know home is where my heart belongs. Days fly by in drunk anticipation. She melts me in the corner of her eyes. All the while hoping she will come with me to places I have yet to see. I walk her to beautiful places, follow her to the ends of the world. Fairy tale filled with jubilation, cross this bridge where we'll reside, happily ever after. Happily ever after. A new story begins. Happily ever after. Happily ever after. Happily ever after. Happily ever after. Story begins. New story begins.
Like all my videos, this is not brought to you by some corporate overlords or some subscription service you don't need. It's brought to you by my friends over at patreon.com that support me, as well as by my business, squaretools.com. So if you don't know what Square Tools is a business of making basically guitar making tools, although I do find other people find other uses for them, and some of them aren't specific to guitar woodworking. But so a popular one, this actually I've been selling a lot of these to saddle makers lately. So if you know any saddle makers, this is the original center square, which is just a very quick and easy way to find the middle of things. I also make a smaller version for this is like half the cost. It does almost everything as this does, just not quite as big of a range, and you can get into smaller locations that this one can't. So this might be a good first one to buy. But then I also just recently launched the string finder, which, as you can see, has 6 points, and you can. It's based on like a tool that exists for pattern makers and fabric workers and stuff. But this is scaled to a guitar, so you can find your guitar bridge, you can do other stuff with it, and of course, most importantly, you can locate the positions on your nut. And it even works on guitars like this with like weird compensated nuts and angles and stuff. You can see here, if I just go right down the angle, you can see that I use this to find all of my string spacing on this instrument, although I do compensate a little bit here and there for some of the thicker strings, so sometimes you kind of fudge it, but this will get you 90% of the way there on most of your guitar builds, and it's available only at squaretools.com. So, back to the show. Okay, this is kind of cool. This is how this works. The client wanted one volume knob, but that wasn't totally possible, so we had to do a stacked one, and I've ordered the right part, so I can take care of that for him. So I put a bunch of tremolo on the guitar amp, so you can hear the difference. That's the guitar amp, and here's the bass amp. Right? So bass, this is going to one amp, this is going to another. And you... they each have their own tone knob. And they each have their own volume knob. This is the treble. Or, if you want to not go through the trouble of having 2 amps, you can just flip that switch. And now it's all going through 1 amp and all works with 1 volume knob. And they actually now have 2 different tones because they're different capacitors. But the funnest way, of course. So this is a commission build for a client. I love doing it. I love making instruments that don't exist and making things specifically the way people want them. It's always inspiring to me to hear other people's ideas and have them come to life via my work. The customer requested this one remain unfinished because they're going to do their own finish job on it, which is totally cool. So that's why this one doesn't have any finish on it. And the last thing I need to do is I'm waiting for this proper stacked pot knob to come in so I can wrap this up and send it out to the client. But what I didn't show you, and this is typical for me, when I make an instrument for the first time for a client, I like to do some practice cuts and make sure everything's going to work out all right. And instead of doing it on scrap wood, just in case it all works out right, I do it with real wood. So I actually made this whole other instrument alongside this one that I did finish. The only difference is I put 2 separate volume knobs on this instead of stacked one. And so now let's hear a little audio example using this one, if I can figure out how to play it. I don't really think this way. Just for reference, this is with it plugged into just the bass amp. So for the nerds, the client requested that his instrument be built to be tuned EAD ADG, which is how it is. But then the one I was just playing, I tuned it EAD, then up an octave, DAD. I thought it'd be fun to mess around with it a little bit differently. And I don't know if that's how I would tune it or if I'd tune it the way he did, but that's the cool thing about instruments like that is that there's no rules and you can do whatever you kind of want with them. I think it'd be fun to actually just tune it like a regular guitar, EADGBE, but just have the octave split. That might be a lot of fun too. So the unfinished one is off to its prospective owner or its new owner, and then the finished one is for sale over at newperspectivemusic.com. So you could grab it and tune it however you want to tune it. I don't care. There's no rules, man. I had a ton of fun making this instrument. I really like it when people contact me about making stuff that is a little outside of the box and maybe doesn't even really exist. I know other people make guitars like this, but you know what are you looking for? What's your idea? Drop me a line. I'd love to make it for you, especially if it's like a weird one, and maybe we'll make a video out of it too. All right, be good.